Good morning. Happy almost New Year. Hold on, this is huge. And I hate that. Alright, now this is smaller. That's why. Sorry. If I put that there. Wait, no. There we go. Alright. Sorry, I had to fix that. Alright, so my plan for today is to just do a review of all of the games that I played on stream this year, which I started streaming in August, so it's not really that many games, although more than I thought, I guess. But gonna do that and then I will hop off because I still have so many other things that I have to get done today, but I did want to stream a little bit. I do not think that I will be live tomorrow, but next week everything will go back to normal and I will be streaming my regular stream schedule. Alright, so first up, as I cover my thing, is GTFO. So if you guys were here over the weekend, I think I played this on stream Friday. That was the game that I was playing. I personally really enjoyed the game, but there were a few slight problems. Um, Hold on, let's get some background music here. There we go. Super fun. Alright, so, it's a stealth game, and honestly, as you will see by my list, I do enjoy a good stealth game, but, there was sort of a weird balance between the stealth part of the game, which is really good. There was so much tension. I was like actually terrified to go up and try and kill some of the enemies because it was so good. But then once you get past the stealthing part, there is a portion of the game where you have to like actually shoot at the enemies, and that is where everything fell apart both times. Which obviously is not a good thing. However, the game is also in super early access, so it's not like it is already live and it has all these problems. I think it's very solid for a game that is in super early access, or extreme early access, I think is what they had on the game. But I am excited to see where it goes. Hopefully it just gets better and, you know, doesn't take away the stealth aspect, because that was awesome. Let's see. Next on our list is Overwatch. So I've been playing Overwatch for, a long time. I want to say sort of like when it first went live for real. And so I've seen a lot, seen a lot of shit happen with Overwatch. This past year, I feel like it went through some pretty decent changes. Added role queue, which is good and bad to some degree. I wouldn't say that I prefer role queue, only because the actual queue times are so fucking long now, and that is not something that I enjoy, having to wait to play a game, which is probably why BR games are not necessarily my bag, because I just want to be able to get in and play the game and then get into another match after we die. And then especially for I don't think I was playing this on stream, or when I was playing on stream I was playing by myself this most recent time, so it was okay. But like trying to queue with other people, I sat in queue for like 5-10 minutes. It's really bad, just really fucking horrible. And it feels even worse when you wait 5 minutes in a queue, which is not a long wait time for anything else except for when you're trying to play a game. And then after those 5 minutes, you get into a match where someone is like obviously tilted and so they're throwing. or you just get completely steamrolled by the enemy team. So hopefully in 2020 they do something to help balance that out. I know that that's not a thing that's only exclusive to Overwatch, because other games that have role queue still have long queue times, and they have the option for you to play, you know, deathmatch and all that stuff while you're waiting, but that still doesn't take away the fact that you could be waiting for 10 minutes just to play a 2-minute match, which is the literal worst. Um, Trying to remember my schedule. This past week has been so weird, but I did stream over the weekend, and before we played GTFO, we played Grimm's Hollow, at least a little bit of it. I was not a fan of it. I have a not like an attention span problem, but I prefer games that can like very easily keep me engaged. And I didn't really feel like there was any in-game push for me to do anything in Grimm's Hollow, the part that I played, which is interesting because I mean, like I said, the game's not bad, and in the very beginning you are trying to find your brother or whatever, but it didn't I felt like there could have been a bit more of a push for you to actually want to continue trying to play the game. The actual mechanics of the game are perfectly fine. I will say, however, though, I also have a really big problem with games that are like a struggle for me to just get going, like to have it play. And so obviously if I wasn't streaming, this wouldn't have been a problem, but it's not a regular game capture, and I have no idea about the specifics of that. I just know that my normal process for trying to capture a game, it did not work for Grimm's Hollow, so that is unfortunate that they did whatever they did to make it harder for you to play on stream. I did end up looking to see if anyone else was playing the game on Twitch, and there was one person, so I was like, oh, obviously this is able to be played on stream. And then I had to go through this whole process of like capturing my entire window just to make it work, which I don't particularly like. Alright, next on the list, Halo Reach, which is actually my least favorite Halo game. Just in part because it feels super short, and then also because you're not playing as Master Chief, which is not like the worst thing, but I did enjoy actually playing it. You know, the nostalgia. It's not the worst game mechanically. The only thing, my biggest issue with it is that they do force you to choose between being able to sprint and like use a jetpack or get a shield, like an extra shield, which that is one of my pet peeves for any game. Not so much like the jetpack and the shield stuff, because that's not a normal thing, but when they try to make it so that you can't jump or that you can't like run fast, I just personally despise that, and I think that's because I am a physically active person, so it's like, it's natural for me in game to want to run and jump, and unless you have a good reason as to why the character cannot run or jump, just really pisses me off. Which is, it's just a thing that I don't feel like should be a game mechanic, especially in games where it's supposed to be more realistic, which Halo is not supposed to be, but other games, where you can only sprint for like 5 seconds, where in reality, the average person can sprint for more than 5 seconds, because we're not all that obese and like generally unhealthy. It is cardio. So if you were never running, it might take a little longer for you to get to the point where you could sprint for that long, but the average person should be able to sprint for long enough that when you're playing a game and you're using average people mechanics, or stats, they should be able to still run for a reasonable amount of time. Unless they're, you know, a smoker, in which case they probably can't run at all. Hello. We are moving right through the list. I see. Doing that work thing that I know nothing about. Next on the list is The Wolf Among Us. So I chose to play this game because they announced that score them. Sure. I don't really know what. Am I doing this out of 10? Now I have to think about that. Let's go out of 5, because some of these games I did not play long enough for them to get anywhere close to a 10. I mean, most of the games that I played, I enjoyed. Excuse me. Alright, so out of 5, I'm gonna give GTFO a 3. Because like I said, I did really enjoy that game. It is just, yeah. It's just unfortunate that it's unbalanced, but again, it's got so much potential, despite the fact that it is in early access, that I would say it can only go up from here. But I played Realm, and that game was pretty good. And then they fixed it in order for it to be able to be played on console, and now the game is shit, so they have the potential to ruin their own game, but I would like to believe that they will. Overwatch. Okay, I've had some really good times with Overwatch, and some really bad times. But it's like a bad relationship, can't let it go. Grimm's Hollow, I would say a solid 2 out of 5. Just not what I wanted it to be. And Halo Reach, obviously, being such a solid game, not a problem at all to give it 4 out of 5. Alright, so. Oh, wait, I totally skipped Jotun. What a shame. Alright, so. Backtracking here, not The Wolf Among Us, but Jotun. I really enjoyed playing this game up until the final boss. Thinking about it, I think I really don't enjoy boss rushes in games. And specifically for this one because I don't feel like it added anything. However, I have so many other good things to say about this game. The art style, I felt like really just complimented the shit out of the story and what they were trying to do. It was just very interesting to play, and I felt like I really did want to 100% it, which wasn't that much. It's kind of a shorter game, and there's not that much extra stuff, but you 100%ing it and trying to get all of the power-ups and stuff like that obviously helps you. Yeah, I really enjoyed that game, and I would absolutely play another game just like it, or like a weird sequel. Right? It was really good. Like, I don't, like I said, the final boss thing really I didn't enjoy that at all. It, like, deflated all of the fun out of the game for me, but up to that point, like, with all of the, like, Norse mythology, and even, like, the fact that they use the language that they use, which I don't know what language that is, but it just helped to bring it all together. I actually did not beat the last boss. I got really close, and then I was like, you know what, I literally already beat all of these other bosses, and I already know what's gonna happen after that, because it was already obvious. I mean, you already beat all the other bosses, so what else is going to happen? Unless I'm wrong, and I'm just assuming, but I don't think that I am. But I would absolutely play another game by those same devs, because that game is awesome. So it gets a 5 out of 5 for being decent AF. These are all so close, and I don't like that. Whoa. Oh no. There we go. Okay, now we're at The Wolf Among Us, the game that I absolutely enjoyed. When the game first came out, I think I watched 2 different streamers play through the first 3, I think, episodes, because I definitely did not see the end, I think, or I just have a worse memory of how that game ended, because I was, a little surprised. But again, the game is also older, and college, who remembers most of their college time. So I was really excited to play it. I really enjoyed playing it. I think I would do another playthrough of the game being either just straight up nicer or just straight up meaner. Just to see what different options are available to me because of that. As I said before, I chose to play the game because because they announced that they were going to do a season 2, which I was ecstatic about. Because, like I said, I love the story. I feel like it's super interesting. I really enjoy like mythology and like fairy tale stuff, so that was like right up my alley. And then it just is also a very good game. So I appreciate that it's not going to just you know never get a sequel. I'm interested to see where that goes. Wow, all of these good games right here in the middle. Alright. I did have a pretty good, solid list of games going for a while there. SteamWorld Dig 2. I did not play the first one, so I didn't really know what was going on, but I also enjoyed the shit out of this game. And I would definitely continue to play it off stream, 200% it. It was over sooner than I wanted it to be, which I cannot say the same for most of the games that I played. Like, I wanted this game to go on forever, essentially, because I enjoyed it that much. And considering that I hadn't played the first one and I didn't really know what I was getting into, it was really surprising. It's nice when I can find a game that like actually makes me want to get up and stream, and SteamWorld Dig 2 was definitely one of them. I was worried a little bit about the leveling system, but I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. The gameplay was interesting enough that I, again, really just wanted to get up early and play it, which I don't think I ever did, but I wanted to. Excuse me. I'm gonna change that. That last boss fight. Alright. Dishonored. How do I feel about Dishonored? It's not a bad game. It is an older game, so I was keeping that in mind as I was playing it. Honestly, I have a weird thing about those games, or at least the first one, is that the dialogue really bothered me. Because it being set in a steampunk world, I didn't necessarily feel like it had to go the route of being like shitting on women a whole bunch, which I felt like it did, and then they just kind of shifted away from that, which was a little weird. I don't know. I don't feel negatively about this game, but I do remember feeling like I just wanted to finish it because I didn't want to start a game and just not get to the end. But I didn't enjoy playing it. It's not a bad game. I think it is a solid streaming game. I will say, however, though, I tried to play the second one on stream, which is why I played the first one, so that I would know what was happening. And the second one just kept crashing, and I think that was more so because I using Xbox Game Pass than like the game itself, but just also again really frustrating when I try to play a game on stream and it just doesn't work. Hmm. Mm, we'll give that a solid 2.5. Alright, oh wait. We Happy Few. Good lord. This game. I don't know if you guys have seen other people play We Happy Few or if you have played We Happy Few yourselves, but I remember seeing the trailer for the game and being really excited about it. I watched co-play parts of the game and still seemed really interesting. He was obviously playing on the hardest difficulty. Um, I'm not gonna answer that. Um, so super excited because it's like a period piece game. Thought it was gonna be very immersive. Um, but it's a very buggy, just fucked up mess. Which I think the game came out last year. Which I felt like it had been years since that game came out, but um, it is in such a terrible state. So there's the survival mechanic part of the game, and then you just having to actually do the plot. And those two parts of the game are like at war with each other the entire time. Um, in that when you are trying to do plot stuff, if you completely ignore the survival part of it, you end up with all of these like bad stat ailments and shit like that. And you can end up getting chased down by the police. I don't think I ever got caught, but it did also feel like, despite the fact that you can end up like throwing up and being dehydrated and you're unable to run and all that stuff, there were never any long-term um issues from you like refusing to do the like to keep your health and your happy up, and it was not nearly as satisfying as I wanted it to be to play. It was just a total shit show. And the first part, I don't remember if they did it episodic or however they label it, but the first part of the game really feels like it takes forever, and then the latter parts, for just Arthur's story, because that's all I got through, sort of get along faster. But I really would have enjoyed, not that every game has to be open world, but I think that that is a game that would be interesting open worlded and also not as much of a hot mess as it is. It definitely needs to be refined. To answer your question, Scratch, I did look at that game, Deep Rock Galactic, but I don't really feel like it will be my kind of game, unfortunately. Alright, so We Happy Few. .5 out of 5. I feel like I have to change this for Dishonored then. Because I didn't hate it, I just didn't love it. Alright. Cat Quest 1 and 2. If you guys were around when I was watching, if you guys were around when I was playing these games, which I think the first Cat Quest is one of the first games that I played on stream, you know that I absolutely enjoyed playing them. I love the whole setting because it's about cats and they're super cute. And I'm a cat person. But also the game mechanics weren't like shit terrible, which is all you can ask for in games nowadays, I guess. But I felt like they did a very good job of making it like lighthearted in the sense that you're playing cats and there's just a bunch of cats and you're running around trying to help them and get stronger, and that the combat was actually still I wouldn't say challenging, but definitely engaging. I didn't die a whole bunch, but they definitely made it easy for you to just play through the game. What's this? Sorry, give me 1 second. Everyone is contacting me right now. Um, okay. Alright. Sorry. Oh wait, I didn't answer that other one. So, back to Cat Quest. I was also super excited to see at the end of the second one that they're going to make a third one. Because I don't know, the games are just honestly exactly what I want out of a game. Not necessarily like super dark and gritty, really light and playful, but also still a decent game to play, so I'm not just like fucking around like a cat for several hours. I played as much of those games as I could possibly play. So I am super excited for the third one. You did, but thanks for coming by. Um, okay. Um, Borderlands 3. I want to say more about this game, and I remember playing it on stream. But yeah, it was just more Borderlands, and not in a bad way at all. Just not anything new and exciting. The ending was okay. The main antagonists were a little... Oh. Were a little much. God damn it. Alright, so I'm gonna give Borderlands... Oh, yes, so 3.5 out of Overwatch. So I've been playing Overwatch, basically forever, for the experience of me playing it this season. Whereas before, it might have been a little bit higher or lower, but it's solid in the middle right now. I have some really good times playing Overwatch, and then some also really shitty times playing Overwatch. And not that that's particularly just the game's fault, but it's just Overwatch. I really do enjoy still playing it, but it's also in a weird place right now. Alright, into the Batman games. I'm actually going to skip down to Asylum, if I can click on it first, because that is the first one that I played. I played through the 3 Batman games over, or during Halloween. Yeah, Overwatch has a way of just really making you hate it when it's not great, and then I mean, like, I think that I definitely still have... Oh, thanks. I think that I still have more love for the game than I do hate. Because obviously I still want to play it all the time, but it's just, like, I can't ignore the fact that when it gets really bad, it's really fucking bad. Like, last night, we were playing, and I don't know, I wasn't in voice chat, so one of our other players was talking about how one of the other players was, like, shit-talking him or whatever in voice chat, which you always have the option to leave voice chat, so I don't know why you would stay there. So then he just started typing out in, like, the match chat what the guy was saying, and he was like, oh, by the way, I'm throwing because this dude is being mean to me, and it was just a total shit show. Yeah, I mean, I do get the point of smurfing, but I think there should probably be a limit. Like, there are streamers that have like 3 or 4 accounts, which to me is wild because as much as I enjoy Overwatch, I'm not going to um, play through the beginning part of the game that much. I feel like that's a little bit too much for me, but to each their own. And smurfing isn't always bad. However, whenever I play with my husband, literally almost every time the enemy team is the one that gets the smurf, and then we're the ones that get the actual level 15 newborn baby playing Overwatch. So that feels bad. I think if they put some sort of limit on how many or not how many games, how many accounts you could have, that might be better. Because I feel like especially around the holiday times, people like Smurfs are popping up all over the place. Yes, that is true. It's unfortunate. I mean, I would say that the way that they balance the game, and only because I have witnessed this, the way that they balance the game, you do really have to have some degree of teamwork, because even if you're playing out of your mind, if your team does not follow up with you playing out of your mind, then it doesn't do anything. Whereas before, you really could have just a Genji in your team's shit for the entire round, and the enemy, or like the rest of their team, wouldn't have to really do anything. Or Symmetra, or whatever people used to just solo win with. I don't know. Alright, but back to you, Batman. Arkham Asylum. I was gonna say something and then I completely forgot. Oh, I really enjoyed this game. I would actually love to play through it again in October because it's kind of like a atmospherically spooky game. There were a little bit of problems with the input lag as far as like comboing goes, but it wasn't like so much to the detriment of my ability to play the game. I'm a pretty huge comic book fan, so I already wanted to play a good superhero game, and I feel like the Batman games are um, some of the best, at least of that I have seen. So, yeah, and honestly, I just want another Batman game. But Batman Arkham Asylum absolutely gets a 5 out of 5. I don't feel like there was anything in in the game particularly that felt like it was shit. The game aged very well. It is the oldest Batman game, and it's not garbage, so that's always a plus. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry, had to open my door. It is so warm in here. Alright, so... Oh. Alright, we will go the reverse way. In the order that I played these games, Arkham City. I was shocked to hear that Arkham City was like the better received Batman game, only because I guess it did not age well. So it was like open world, but I didn't feel like when I was playing it that there was any reason for me to do anything else outside of the plot. Like all of the Catwoman stuff did not interest me at all. And it wasn't like a terrible game. I just felt like coming off the heels of Asylum, it did not do as good of a job as, you know, pushing me to do other things. And so my whole thing for open world games is that if it's going to be open world, then you should have a reason as to why you have to go out and do these other things, or they just won't ever get done. Hold on a second. sorry about that. Again, apparently today everyone wants to contact me while I'm streaming. Um, okay. Arkham City, right. So, I didn't hate the game. I felt like they obviously improved on things, which in their case, they could only go up, and the only main issue that I have with it is the open world part of it that doesn't really add anything for me personally. And the graphics were weird. Um, yeah, they were just not great. Here we go. We're gonna give that a solid 4 out of 5. And then Arkham Knight. Wow. I don't think I've definitely watched people play all of the Batman games, although I guess Origins was the one that I remembered the most, and I don't ever intend to play that game. But Arkham Knight, I already knew the big plot twist because it's also super obvious if you know anything about Batman in general. So that's what they were hinting at the entire time. But there were so many good things about the game. I feel like I did still have trouble getting things to trigger, which again might have just been, I think I played that through Epic. So that might have been the issue because both the Xbox Game Pass store and the Epic Game Store do something funky to these games when you try to play them, which really sucks, and then they crash when they shouldn't be crashing, and they just don't work as well as if you had the physical game. Um, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I read the stats. I think I played like, I don't remember exactly how long, but it was like my longest played game. It was definitely upwards of 10 hours. Um, But yeah, I remember that I had made one of my stream titles, oh, totally beating this game today. And then it went into like the final act, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely not beating this game today. So it's nice to be able to play a game that just like keeps on giving, and all of the stuff that it keeps giving you is like actually interesting. Um, just a solid game all around, and obviously aged well enough that it's still good now. Alright. Getting towards the end here. Slashy Hero. I played this game on stream and I didn't realize that it was a phone game. Although I must say that I don't understand why I can't sort through games on Steam and like exclude phone games. I mean, I can, but I'm pretty sure this still came up. But when you're on your computer, I don't feel like phone games should be popping up. Anyways, but the game itself was buggy in a weird way, where if you died at the boss, it just let you, um, just let you go on to the next area, which, obviously is kind of okay if you were trying to fight those bosses, but still weird if you're not expecting it. And I didn't realize what had happened until like the second time it happened. But it's made by the same people who played Cat Quest, so that's part of why I did play it, and I still enjoyed it, but a little buggy in some very interesting ways. I will give that though solid 3 out of 5. The Stanley Parable, which, yeah, I did play on stream. It's an interesting game. I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy playing it. Very interesting. Still pretty short, which I feel like they probably could have done more with it. And I would have enjoyed it more, like made it a little, longer. Yeah. Okay. Fez started out as a really interesting game to me. So I was a little worried about playing a platformer on stream because I am notoriously bad at platforming in games mostly. I just don't have the proper coordination to jump without struggling first a little bit. But Fez kind of changed uh, my opinion on whether or not I actually wanted to do platforming games. That and also this other game on here. But as with some of these other games, I feel like there was a lack of drive. So after a certain point, which if you guys haven't seen Fez, it's like a 3D platformer type, very interesting game mechanics. But the story at some point just kind of drops off. And so you have to decide if you want to continue to try and run through the platforms and find your way to the end, which I just did not. I really enjoyed it while I was playing it, up until the point where it just kind of died a little bit. Which wasn't actually that... It was pretty far into the game. It just definitely had a fall-off point. At least for when I played it. Okay. Dauntless was interesting. Again, I had this issue with games that have storylines, or that don't have storylines, where I feel like they could benefit from one, or maybe there was a storyline in Dauntless and I just didn't find it because who knows. It seemed like an interesting game. It was like a Monster Hunter type game, which I didn't play Monster Hunter, but I enjoyed playing Dauntless. There are some games that require a bit too much effort, which is like a reasonable amount of effort, just not the amount of effort that I ever want to put into playing a game. And Dauntless definitely falls into that category. So while I enjoyed it, it just was not my type of game. But now I know better. Alright, the actual first game, I think besides Overwatch, that I played on stream was Chimera Destroy All Monster Girls. And I really enjoyed the game up until the last level, where it felt like the platforming difficulty just like spiked, which wasn't horrible. I still enjoyed it, but what the fuck is this? Yeah, I don't feel like I necessarily ever want to play it again, which obviously for me, if I find a game that I feel like I want to play again, that's already, 5 out of 5, but it wasn't a bad game, it just wasn't interesting enough. There's not that much replayability, and my, part of my struggle with finding games to play is games that have replayability. So probably all of these games that have a 5 out of 5, I would absolutely just play through again. If there are any sequels, so before Cat Quest 3 comes out, I will definitely be playing through the first and second one. Might do another playthrough of The Wolf Among Us before the second one comes out. Maybe. And then in October, I definitely do want to replay through Asylum and Night. Let's see. We're gonna give them a fat 3 out of 5. Okay, so that was my 2019 stream game review. Thank you guys for hanging out and chatting with me today. As I said at the beginning of the stream, I will not be live tomorrow, but I will be live next week. We go back to our regular schedule. Everything is the same. Scratch will also come back to stream at night. So have a safe and wonderful New Year's. Be sure to not drink and drive. It's not worth it. stay home or get an Uber or something. Be diligent. Do not drive drunk. Be safe. Thanks for watching, guys.